A pole vaulter's nice-sized package costs him an Olympic medal. Dildo races are going on at a bar in Dallas. And Karens are dwindling as far as popular names goes. These are the weird stories for Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast recorded by a comedian inside a closet. And it's hot. It's so hot. Help me. A pole vaulter's enormous bulge costs him an Olympic medal. I've done a few Olympic stories, but not many because they've been kind of tame. This is a very weird story about a 21-year-old pole vaulter named Anthony Amirati. He's a Frenchman. He's become an instant viral phenomenon after this incident involving his crotch and the pole vaulting. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this clip. Normally, I won't do a visual story on Weird AF News, but you've probably seen the clip, and if not, you can just imagine what it would be like trying to pole vault when you got a huge package and how that could get in the way. That's exactly what happened. Amirati, the 21-year-old French athlete, missed his target height. He knocked down the pole with his package, which caused him to fail his qualifying track for the final, sadly. Yeah, it turns out Anthony had the right amount of vault. He just had a little too much pole. Yeah, it's against the rules to jump with two poles, as people know. The scene at the Olympics left commentators scrambling to find words, but it quickly sparked memes and jokes all over social media. And frankly, I find it very cruel to make fun of this athlete. People don't know that it's hard when you're living life with a huge unit. This is the reason why I had to quit the hurdling events in high school. I suffer this way. I can't do certain things. Second dates are usually out of the question because they can barely handle the first date. It's my cross to bear, though, my huge, heavy, swinging, beefy cross to bear, sadly. This story says, while social media has been flooded with jokes over the size of Anthony's, French outlets are highlighting this unfortunate twist of fate for poor Anthony. Large Amirati, who won't have another chance to compete for a medal, has had to exit the Olympics, sadly, which also means he won't be able to participate in any of the sexcapades going on in the Olympic Village. And you know he would be a hot commodity after this video. He'd be a #1 draft pick as far as late-night trysts in the Olympic Village. You know, let's look at this in a positive light, all of this, though. Anthony's only 21 years old. He's going to get another crack at the Olympics, I would think, right? And now he's prepared. He's going to have to do the old tuck, you know, with his package. Keep it tucked. It's very important. Like the times you would go up in front of the classroom, you know, everybody knows how to tuck, right? We've all been there. Or maybe get a strap for it. I'm sure there's some kind of Johnson strap, some kind of wang wrap out there. Or maybe he can invent one, name it after himself. You could call it the Amirati, the Anthony, I got nothing on that. Some more positive, guys. This is a great icebreaker at a party when he's meeting people. So you competed in the Olympics, yes. Yeah, I would have won gold, too, if it wasn't for my huge schlong. And now, for sure, Amirati's got the best dating app photo of all time now as well. Just do a screenshot out of that video. Post that in there. Yeah. Swiping right for days. Just remember it's weird news and it'll be alright. Beep. Off to the races, everyone. The dildo races. That's right. A bar in Texas has weekly dildo races, and I'm very excited about this. I'm going to Dallas in a couple of months, and I think I might have to go visit a place called the Whippersnapper. It's in Knox, Henderson. It's known for unique and irreverent one-off events such as Barbie Land and Willy Wonka pop-ups, 90s themed parties. The bar has weekly dildo races, and this is a long-standing tradition. I don't know how a dildo race would work. Let's read about it. Are there jockeys involved, guys? That sounds a little X-rated. Probably no jockeys involved. It says every Thursday, the Whippersnapper invites customers to race dildos, vibrators, to be more specific. Contestants choose from the bar's in-house selection of dildos, which come in a wide variety of vibrant prints ranging from roses to aliens. And they pick the intensity setting that they think will be most effective during the race. They then place the device at the top of a sloping track and let it buzz and jerk all the way down the track. The first vibrator to cross the finish line wins the race, and its operator makes it to the next round. The champion of the evening takes home a cash prize, which is $100. Whoa, look at that. You get a cash prize if you win the dildo race, and you get to participate in a very weird, funny event, which is going to look pretty good on the gram, I'd say. It says, don't worry, though. These vibrators, in case you're wondering, were purchased only for this event. They've never been used for their original intended purpose. How do you know? Prove it. How do you know? After hours, the staff. I'm sure that there have been some people who have donated their used toys for this race, you think? In which case they would have at one point been used for their intended purpose. It says here, the Whippersnapper's general manager and host for the evening, Ryan, did promise free drinks to anyone who brought their own vibrator. See, if someone's bringing their own, how do you prove that it hasn't been used? I guess maybe Ryan requires it to be handed over in a package unopened. It says nobody took him up on the offer, though, for free drinks, for bringing your own dildo. This whole event was Ryan's idea. The Whippersnapper Bar is no stranger to esoteric competitions, having raced Roombas and Goldfish in the past. We got a quote from the bar owner, Chris. He says, we've had a growing and steady crowd with the vibrator races. We got one person who's been here like 4 or 5 times out of the weeks that we've done it. We've had one person who's won it and then finished second another time. It's pretty cool. And now for a pause to congratulate Jonesy on doing a spot-on impression of Whippersnapper's owner, Ryan, in that one. Good job, Jonesy! Way to go! All right, there's more details about this event in case you want to attend. The games are advertised with a start time of 10 p.m. What day? Did I mention the day already? It's Thursdays, right? Thursdays. So I arrive on a Thursday and I have a show at the same time. Actually, my show's I think at 8. So maybe I can make it over to the Racing Vibrator event, which is, I got to get some video of this for the Patreon. Would you guys like to see Jonesy turning on a dildo, giving it a little smooch on the tip, and then racing it down the track? Come on, who doesn't want to see that action? All right, lastly, I'd like to point out the risk that Chris and Whippersnappers is taking in putting on this event, because I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but there are some laws in Texas that prevent you from owning a certain amount of sex toys. A 2008 court case in particular decided that you cannot have more than 6 sex toys in your possession at once in Texas. You see? So be careful, all you freaks in Texas.
Let's rock.
Baby Karens seem to be becoming extinct these days. Let's turn back the clock, though. It wasn't always that way. The year was 1963. The Beatles were at the top of the music charts. I want to hold your hand. They didn't write a song called Karen, though. They wrote Michelle and Julia. Any other songs with lady names in it? Oh, how could I forget? Dear Prudence. Okay, it also says in Queensland, Karen was the most popular name for baby girls that year. A grand total of 537 babies were called Karen. They were registered in 1963 that year. The most popular name for boys was David, 874 babies. It says both names, Karen and David, would stay very popular in Queensland for well over a decade. They were the number 1 ranked name, even into the late 80s. Fast forward 60 plus years to 2024. David is slowly disappearing. Only 37 babies were named David. As for the name Karen, the once mighty name is basically extinct. Apparently, not a single infant was named Karen last year. Now, this is one city in one country, but you could probably extrapolate this to other places in the world. Because sadly, this Karen meme has really pushed it out of the culture. I would not be surprised to learn that hardly any babies were named Karen in the U.S. last year. In fact, I'd imagine a lot of people changed their name from Karen to something else, like Kitty or Quandarius or something like that. Because, that name just has such a negative connotation these days. It's kind of like Kyle. That just has a bad rap these days as well. There are still a lot of, I'd imagine, retirement homes filled with Karens, though, fighting over the phone to call 911 on a neighbor. But to meet a young Karen these days would probably be a rare event. Names are kind of like tattoos, the trends change, but you're stuck with it. So you have to be very careful when considering such things. How many of us have a tattoo that we, a decade later, regret? I know I got that butterfly at the top of my ass crack, and, I look at that every day and go, what was I thinking, Thankfully, though, you can remove a tattoo and you can change a name. It's possible. The article says, the name Karen has attracted negative attention in recent years. For those of you who have been living in a cave, this name has been used to describe women who supposedly complain a lot or have a sense of a certain entitlement. I would say that the Karen meme really took off in 2021, 2020-ish COVID times, when many a video surfaced of these women making a fuss out in public, usually involving them wearing a mask or something like that. And so it really hit its stride back then. And it's created a mess for anyone named Karen, sadly. World events sometimes lead to the decline of certain names. Like, I would say Adolf has not been popular for quite some time. You don't meet a lot of Adolfs these days, nor do you meet a lot of Osamas. Haven't met a single Osama, really. And Beelzebub's been out for quite a while, I noticed. Yeah. I mean, you remember in grammar school, there was a few Beelzebubs in class, but I haven't seen one of those in a bit. This article ends with a professor who says the name Karen has fallen out of favor, and it will be at least another generation before it makes a comeback. He says, quote, Karen has fallen from grace completely. And it is absolutely unfair to all of the marvelous people called Karen who are already alive out there, bringing people joy. Yeah, I agree completely with this professor. And you better believe at some point in the future, Karen will be back to speak to the manager. It's easy. Do-do-do-do-do-do. All you need is news. All you need is news. All you need is weird news. News is all you need. Were you singing along with me? I'll bet you were, because you're so cool. Hi, my friends. This is your trusty host, Jonesy. Thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope you enjoyed the Florida Friday episode. I have to give thanks and praise to people who are supporting Weird AF News and supporting me in a huge way as I continuously produce this podcast 5 days a week inside a closet, as we do. It's really hot right now, by the way. Well, it's time to give thanks and praise, as we do in the outro. I want to give a shout out to Prasant, who bought me a coffee off my website, weirdafnews.com. Prasant wrote me a little note here. It says, the world has gone nuts, Jonesy. Everywhere it's doom and gloom. But every morning on my way to work, you break that depressing cycle, and you bring your style of humor, and you make us laugh. And every Friday, you take the mickey out of those crazy Floridians. So have a coffee on me, mate, for helping me get through the day. Prasant from Telford, Shropshire, England. Good luck with your life, man. Isn't that a sweet, lovely note? It's just really wonderful. I just am so appreciative of that. So shout out to Prasant, who I've had some interaction with already. I believe was it on the Instagram? I think so. A couple people joined the Patreon too, so we got to give them the deserving love. Here, first we have Waylon Hacksaw, which is just the most amazing name. Waylon Hacksaw, isn't that tremendous? Waylon Hacksaw has got to be a professional wrestler of some sort. Waylon Hacksaw became a huge supporter of Weird AF News by joining the Patreon, so just want to thank Waylon Hacksaw. I got to see a picture of you, Waylon Hacksaw. Waylon Hacksaw's got to be badass. Driving a Harley for sure. Anyways, Waylon Hacksaw's jumping on the Patreon train, also known as the support train. That's how you become a patron of the arts. You support Jonesy. I believe you can write it off on your taxes, can't you? It's a donation. You write it off. Why not support Jonesy and write it off? And you're getting into heaven, don't you know? Anyway, shout out to Waylon Hacksaw for joining the Patreon. Please enjoy the extra material that's I've been putting in the Patreon. I put some good stuff in there last week, and stuff's already ready to go. I've scheduled some things today that you're going to enjoy very much, very much. Also, a new member of the Patreon is Desiree Hubbs. Desiree is a Texas gal. Desiree's been a fan of the show for a bit. We've talked on Instagram before. She's super cool. So she stepped up her commitment to Weird AF News and decided to join the Patreon. And so I can't thank her enough for that. So super appreciative of Desiree Hubbs. Hope I'm saying your name correctly. It's spelled like desire, but I just assume it's pronounced Desiree. Right? I've been around a bit. All right. I've seen some names before. I've been around. I believe that's Desiree. Anyway, shout out to Desiree Hubbs. If you want to join the Patreon, you can go to weirdafnews.com, which is the official website, and just join the Patreon that way. Just click on the Patreon banner or download the Patreon app on your smartphone, and you can do a search for Weird AF News that way as well. Super easy ways to support the show, and I am constantly putting in weird, fascinating content into the Patreon. 3 or 4 things a week on average it's been lately, so I've been very busy in there. And pretty soon I'm going to be doing bonus episodes, so you might want to jump in there and get ahead of the game. Anyways, you don't need to spend any of your ducats, your precious ducats, your hard-earned ducats to support Jonesy and Weird AF News. I know it's tough these days. The economies are not so great. The stock market is not doing so great either for those of you who are wealthy. And so for that, there are other ways to support the show, and you could just tell a friend or write a review of Weird AF News. I got my monthly Chartable Digest email, which tells me where I'm ranking as far as the world goes on my podcast, and it's always filled with red numbers in there because my rankings keep going down in these countries, it seems. So sad, but I try to keep my head up. For instance, I've dropped 60 points in the news category in Lithuania. And I thought I was so big in Lithuania. What's going on over there? I dropped 5 spots to number 188 in the news category in Tunisia. And then, one of my favorite places, and I thought they loved me over there, but I've dropped 5 spots to number 73 in Guyana, which I think, isn't that a French-speaking nation anyways? What am I even doing ranking in the top 100 in Guyana? It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyways, those are the updates of where I stand. My rank history. Yeah, it'd be nice to rank high in the United States where I'm at. That'd be pretty cool someday. But maybe, we'll just have to, fingers crossed, maybe in another 7 years I can get up there and crack the top 100 someday. You would think in the category of news I'd be somewhere in the U.S., but nope. It ain't happening for your boy Jonesy. But maybe with some reviews, if you want to leave me a review, maybe that'll help. I don't know. So, anyways, it's all right. At the end of the day, we have each other, and that's all that matters. And I love you unconditionally. If you love me unconditionally, tell me you love me. 646-450-2012. funnyjones@gmail.com. Good luck with your life, man.